Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm the AI guy. Rick McCauley launching news so fresh. Gotta see it to believe it. We break the wire with the stories that amaze. Deep dives coming, lighten up your days. Tool Time shows you how we make it shine. Building futures with AI one step at a time. Yo, Rick, slow down. I'm Brandon, the producer. Save some tools for me. Shout out. I'm here bringing high-tech comic energy. AITV Starship. News deep dives and creation. AITV Starship. Learn, laugh, innovation.
Good evening.
How's it going? We got the audience here. We're cruising in. I'm coming in hot, man. I'm last second just dropping in here. I was down in Miami all day long, and I was landing a moonshot today. Met with FEMA about Rescue Connect. I can't wait to show you more about that. We'll see, because I got it in the hands of 400 people. So I printed out enough pages with the QR code to the video, downloaded the thing, and printed, and I handed it to 3 people that work for FEMA right now. One was in HR, so I'm not sure how far that's going to go, but the people at the convention. So I'm going to go to Houston. If this doesn't land this plane, I don't know what's gonna. But I pressed so much flesh, and I talked to everybody. I talked to robots, man. I was talking to a llama wearing night vision goggles and stuff. It was crazy. But we're going to land that thing. I'm telling you, this is going to happen.
That's awesome. Well, again, it's been a busy week for AI. No surprises there. You know,
yeah, my mind's blown. You know,
seemed like a lot, but this week we had less, but they were more substantive. However you say
yeah. So I'm going to set up the whole show tonight because it's going to be different than we normally do. We're going to basically go through the news, the fun parts. And then we're going to play a game show. And what I want you to think about is, what do you actually do as a human being on this earth? And what do you want to do? So if you were not defined by your job title, if money was not an object, you always had money, safety, everything, all of your needs. So you're on the Star Trek Enterprise. What is your role? That's the question for tonight. We're going to play a game show. We're going to figure out what my role would be.
On that show,
Gene Roddenberry, I think. Yeah.
Well, that's who I'd be.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, so you'd be the architect of the idea. Ooh. Yes. I would definitely have a companion named Data, but she would be a she, and she would have a British Irish accent.
You haven't thought about this at all. That's the important thing.
Other than fantasizing about what's the woman, the really curvy one in the 1 Against 2 or something. She has some weird name, I forget. Like, you know, and the healer. Yeah, I've had my Star Trek fantasies, and I did have a girlfriend one time dress up as one of the characters. I don't think I'll share that tonight, even though I'm a dangerous man. So I'm just going to warn you a little bit. The first half of the show is going to be all fun, all light. And then I'm going to allow Brandon, if he wants to leave the stage, because I'm going to get freaking political. And you're going to know when I'm going to be doing this, because I'm going to put on my dangerous man hat. And as soon as that happens, I'm no longer Rick the AI guy, who I'm going to be all the time. So, in fact, I want to get a couple things straight. The dangerous man was created on purpose. And I realized that, why does Batman have an alter ego, right? Oh, yeah. Bob, I got to find out what you would do when you can't sell real estate unless it's on another planet. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
No, I was just giving the Vulcan.
Oh, yeah. Live long and prosper, baby. Can you do this? Yeah. You know you're an alien if you could. Oh, live long and prosper, and to all your children. Yes. And the Vulcan mind meld. I want to do the mind meld. Ooh, dolphins. Dolphins can do the mind meld, just FYI.
As a quick side note, we went to a museum with the kids. They're saying good night to me. Good night.
Good night.
So this is where we're at.
Can your kids do this? Do they have any idea what this is?
Not yet. They don't, but
they
will soon.
They'll get their get their badge.
So I'm not sure if that came through on the audio, but that was Noah saying good night to me through the Google Home. Which was amazing. So he's upstairs in his room, and he's just broadcasting.
Google Home, notify my dad. Good night.
Yep. Exactly.
That is
I'm
how it
lucky if he
is.
doesn't turn off the lights on me here, but
Or
we
start your
went to a
car,
museum.
or
So getting
plow
back to
the front acre.
getting back to the mind meld, we
Oh,
went to an exhibit where they were talking about AI and science of the future and reading your body and using augmented technology in your body. And they had one exhibit where you wore a headband and it was a sensor. And the goal was to clear your mind. And the clearer your mind was, the higher the
ooh,
ball would rise in the tube because you would
ooh,
calm where you,
biofeedback.
yes. And so the kids were trying it. They were putting it on their head. They couldn't get the ball to move. They were convinced it's broken. They're like, hey, let me show you how this works, kids. I strapped that thing on. I went to my happy place. I checked out. The ball shot up, and all of a sudden, here the kids go, whoa! So you can hack your brain with enough meditation.
Yeah, and did I talk about the whole Denise Hitzig and I showed off the dolphin thing last week? Did I get to that?
You expect me to remember something from last week? That was last week. That was like 7
Hey,
years ago in the world
somebody
of
that
AI.
watched this, tell me if I talked about a woman who's been studying dolphins for 40 years. Hey, Bob, or somebody saw the show last week, right? Somebody go back and check that out. Because if not, I'm going to talk about that, because one of the coolest things she found out about dolphins is they have telepathy. So literally, they can echolocate 10,000 fish and send from their mind to another dolphin's mind the entire image. Not making
And
this up.
then
Proven fact.
Google mapped dolphin Gemma, and now they're trying to figure out how they communicate with their e's and oohs and ahs to communicate. So
Okay, so I clearly did not show that off, and I will do that tonight. In fact, that'll be right after the news. We'll do that first because that's going to make people happy, and then get
No
ready to
flipper
play.
stories.
Yeah, no flipper stories? Come on. Yeah. Oh, that's right.
yeah, you
I
talked
did
about
it
it
with
Saturday
Claire. Yeah.
in the office
Yeah,
hours.
I had an amazing day with Claire. In fact, I've got all that, the videos up there to chop it up. So if I don't get to it tonight, maybe we'll do it another time. But it literally, so I'm going to be going this summer with this woman who for the last 40 years, every summer for 3 months, she works at Florida Atlantic University. If you didn't know this, which of course you wouldn't, right? FAU, Broward College are sister institutions. We do the first 2 years. FAU has 6 years on top. You can be a doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, whatever you want to be, right? And we'll find out tonight what your purpose is in the future. So we're going to swim with the dolphins, and we're going to talk about the devices that she's used. So she literally is doing two-way communication. So she has a synthesizer to speak dolphin, and they decoded the entire language. It's in 3 different kind of forms. We'll talk about that. And there's also great new things with Notebook LM. I'm going to demonstrate one of the newest tools that I'm using to create my slide deck for tonight, which is real interesting. So we're going to basically talk about the news. So what the heck is in the news? So you got new stuff from Notebook LM, which includes video, audio overviews, which is cool. Editing on every slide in your slide deck, meaning that you create 15 slides. You want to go to slide number 7, 8, 12, and 14, and you want to change the content. Then you say go, and it regenerates an entire new deck. And as a PowerPoint presentation, and you can drop that into Google Drive and make a whole video presentation with audio overview on top of it, and then output as an MP4. And then you can post it to the YouTube channel. So while you're waiting for us to get into all this, definitely take a look at our YouTube channel, because we've just made a couple of changes. So we've got a bunch of Notebook LMs, which I'm going to be doing as just standalone stories. So they're typically 7 to 7.5 minutes on super deep dives. In fact, 2 of the things I'm talking about today, including, I think maybe this is what I'll do. I'll show you where the dolphin story is on our YouTube channel, and then you'll be able to go there yourself and take a look at it and listen to it. So there's about 10 of those I just kind of loaded up. And then let's go ahead and get into, this is the Nexus. Yeah,
Wait,
go ahead.
before we get that.
No.
So by the way, for those playing along at home, we've changed the agenda of this show 8 times in the last 9 minutes. But we're going to land the plane. We'll find a way to get there. This is AI. We're moving fast. We're breaking things. Breaking news. I have 2 pieces of breaking news for you.
News first. Okay.
First of all, you know we're fans of Lovable on this show. Sunday, Lovable is free for everyone. It's International Women's Day. They're partnering with Women Who Code. Go get your Lovable on, and you can code for free whether you're a woman or not. It's free for everyone. Partnering with a couple of female-led organizations. But Lovable is free on Sunday the 8th. And then also, just before we got on, Sam Altman just casually dropped ChatGPT 5.4. Like, we just had ChatGPT instant like 2 days ago, and now we've already got ChatGPT 5.4.
So let's break it down.
Rolling out over the course of the day. It's much better at knowledge work and web search, and it has native computer use capabilities. You can steer it mid-response, and it supports finally 1 million tokens of context. It only took them 3 years to catch up to Gemini and get that 1 million context window.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here because they did the speed model. Everybody's angry at them because they tried to get crazy about it. But now you've got actually fact-checking. So the damn thing, instead of guessing 80% of the time, we're talking 80%. Now, human beings hallucinate 90% of the time. I'm going to just tell you that's a flat truth. If you asked any witness verification,
95 if your name's Rick.
if I haven't gotten any sleep, but I can remember all this stuff. I know the stats on AI like it's nobody's business, but it's like it's either that or make room for like how do I walk. So that's my choices right now. I'm doing a play in my head, but how do I walk? Which way's to my bathroom? In the middle of the night. Yeah. The whole thing about the absent-minded professor is true. I am the professor in Gilligan's Island. I swear to God. And I can't remember a thing outside of the stuff I really got to know, like when's your birthday, Brandon? How old are you? How old are my kids? What's my home address? What's my zip code? I literally was stunned at the gas station waiting to put my zip code in. Is it 04, 05? I'm like, man, okay.
So anyway, that's where you need that biohacking to put that chip inside the Neuralink. So you're like, hey, Elon, what's my zip code?
Yeah, right? Well, that's it. So this is what's happening. World knowledge, right? So Google's whole thing is let's build a world, but the world is you. And so Apple has now confirmed that Google's Gemini is going to be the core operating system and a little bit extra on device for 90% of what you're going to be doing. So that's going to be awesome. On device is happening again and again. Here's the problem with ChatGPT. They tried to be the every tool for everybody. So number one, you need to know it's an average tool. And you also need to know they're the devil, as far as I'm concerned, meaning that they are now working with the War Department, and that's going to be the really political Pete's Hegseth, who is who has given the edict to his generals to tell the people, the young soldiers, the 20-year-olds going to war, that they are fighting for the end times. I'm not making this up. This is reported in 125 cases. That's our dark side for tonight. So it's heaven and hell. Hell right now is Sam Altman and ChatGPT, because they're allowing the War Department to spy on us, all Americans, which is against the Constitution. So that's my dark.
They put a provision in that said they weren't going to let them do that. It's totally fine. Just pay no attention to the fine print. You'll be fine.
Exactly. Until they already know anything about you. I mean, that wouldn't be hard.
Let's pull it back and talk about these guys here.
Okay. So the number one thing you need to know is over the weekend, the War Department, who has been using since 2010 Claude only in their super secret missions, which includes Venezuela.
Whoa, hang on.
2015.
2015.
When did it come out?
2020?
Since Claude was invented, they're the only large language model. There you go. What year was that? So whatever that was.
Large language model. We'll ask ChatGPT 5.4. It'll fact check it.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Oh, you know what? I want to have a chatbot listening throughout our show and fact check us. Just sitting there waiting for us to make a mistake like that.
No, you don't. March 2023 was when Claude was
23. Okay. All right. So I think it was 24. Now that it had a 4 in it. So there you go. 2024. It is the only model, including Elon Musk did not make it to that security level. ChatGPT did not. Google did not. Only Claude. And they so much cannot do without it. So they have had a long-standing contract since then. And Dario Amodei, who's the author of A Machine of Loving Grace, that goes back to the Barb Gardner's Machine of Loving Grace idea that we would be working in the fields alongside our partner for the Garden of Eden kind of thing. So he writes this big giant thing. He is the ethical Jesus, if you will, of AI companies. He is the one that did all the sandboxing, did all the testing, and ChatGPT has gone fast and broken things. Now, two things I didn't know till this afternoon. This comes from the Peter Diamandis's Moonshot WTF, and you know what that stands for, Moonshot Guys. So it's 5 guys or 4 guys that get on there and just, you got to watch them. They're really hilarious and fun, but they're changing the world. Okay, so here's what they said. Claude is majorly trusted by businesses. ChatGPT tried to be for everybody. Did you know that Claude, up to this point, is making 10 times more money in revenue than ChatGPT, at least? And they're escalating at superpowers because the cost for coders to use Claude is a lot more money per click than you and I trying to check out whether Claude Anthropic started in 2023 or 24, right? So I didn't know that. And then there was the question. So the War Department says, we went into Venezuela, we used Claude to get us there. We targeted all the bunkers in Iran, and we blew them up with bunker busters that supposedly got rid of all the nukes, right? Or any possibility of ever making them again. That was, a couple of years ago, using Claude. Everything they're using Claude for. And Claude's Dario Amodei, Machine of Loving Grace guy, he's the guy, he's my man. He is Jesus, okay? And I would say that right now, Sam Altman is sort of like a Judas. I'll put him as Judas in this biblical play, if you will, because you're going to see how biblical it is at the end. And the question was, they only had 2 rules. Number 1, never use Claude for fully autonomous AI. Because what's the problem with that? Well, the problem with that is it's not good enough to make a decision about killing someone or not. And the War Department comes back, and I spent the last 2 days just dissecting this. So I am, other than my date being wrong, I will verify as a journalist for the Miami Herald that this is fact-checked all the way up the hill. And what I'm about to tell you later, which is going to freak you the hell out if you didn't see this coming, this is the most ethical earmark. Okay, so anyway, can't use it for weapons of autonomous weapons, okay? So then the War Department comes back and says, what if China just launched a missile attack, or Russia did? Can we use the tool then? And there's questions as to what happened next. But so for a week, and you'll see the timeline exactly a little bit later as I break it down. So anyway, what happened is they decided to think about, and they threatened Claude this last week to put them on the no-fly list for AI tools anywhere in the government. That includes for me to be able to use it at school. They're going to take it off the list unless they complied with the 2 things that Dario said he wouldn't do. And the second one, using autonomous weapons, is mass surveillance on U.S. citizens. Those are the only 2 lines he had. Now, there was nuance back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then finally, and they are using it for the next 6 months because their contract of $200 million doesn't run out till then. And so what happened was everybody looked at this, and then ChatGPT says, me, I need a $200 million contract for the federal government. We're trustworthy. And they said, hey, he ain't good enough. But then the last minute, they said, in order to get Dario to succumb and let him use the only tool that they trust, think about that for a minute, only tool that they trust, and the only tool that enterprise trusts, and the only tool that's making 10 times more money than ChatGPT and will probably outpace them and earn and win. So I think it's Claude and Google. Google buys Claude, and that's it. That's the AI for the rest of the world. All right, so then you get this mass surveillance on humans run by Palantir, run by Peter Thiel, who has already said democracy is incompatible with capitalism. And the whole nexus thesis for tonight is The entire theology of the Trump government, including Peter Thiel, Larry Ellison, everybody else, is basically this. There is an idea, the kingmakers, there will be CEOs installed, and all of us are going to become slaves, period, end of times. And Pete Hegseth, who worked for all of them, also follows, along with J.D. Vance, this dark enlightenment. Look up that term because you're going to want to know it, and you're going to learn about it tonight. All basically the PayPal mafia, and there's 7 of them that took over the U.S. government and is driving it to the ground. All right, so then the devil, Pete Hegseth, Department of War head, who has end times tattoos on his body. I'll go into that later. But so then all of a sudden everybody said, hey, Claude's Anthropic is being ethical. I don't want to be surveilled on. As far as, stopping an invasion by China of nuclear weapons, yeah, use AI for that because that's existential. Maybe that's not a question. But to send out a swarm of 10,000 bots and kill a wedding party, which we've already been there, done that, even with humans in the loop, right? That was one of the first things that opened up once we found out what we were doing in Iraq and that there were no mass destruction things. Do you trust our government to have full autonomy to even kill our people here after what ICE did? Imagine that times a billion. Okay, that's my thing for tonight. All right. So skipping that, all of a sudden, everybody signed this paper. Every theologian, every ethicist said, ChatGPT, I'm sorry, but Dario is right. Those are 2 lines that have to be drawn in the sand. We cannot only, and the United Nations, the head of the United Nations came out and said, autonomous weapons are a hard line. They will be considered war crimes if committed. It's the same way as using bioweapons. It's the same way all those treaties that we used to sign all the time that we're no longer signing. Basically, this is the hard line in the sand where the dangerous man is going to have to put his hat on and tell you how it really is. Instead of being self-domesticated, you need to wake up tonight. So part 2 of this is going to be an angry old man trying to stop the end of the planet, okay? And the end times, which is the mission. It's literally a theological mission. So anyway, stay tuned. So in the mix, Google all of a sudden is the, it's the back runner. It's like Apple. It waits till everybody does what they're going to do. And then they need to get their branding together. They got some things they got to do. But you've been hearing me talk about, for educators, Google ecosystem is the thing. I was on a chat today about Google itself. The company has made this program so every single professor and a K through 12 educator for free gets a full 20-hour development. I want to work with them because I want to teach them what I'm doing with Notebook LM in ways they can't even imagine. So I was on a Zoom call with them for 2 hours in the middle of going around and evangelizing my Rescue Connect operation. So that's what we need to look forward to. And the Moonshot guys, who are all business all the time, Peter Diamandis is the Rocket Prize and the Cure Cancer Prize and all these things. And he's got his own wellness and he wants to longevity, escape velocity. That's his whole thing. It's a great show to watch. I highly recommend it. And then we're going to start off talking about AI Salon. Is there any other news? So we've got some really cool stuff happening. Do you have the cockroach clip up? I want to show some of those. I want to do some fun stuff since I got kind of angry here for a minute. Let's do some fun stuff.
Yeah, I can get that up really quick.
There's Sea Dance is still not completely out, although you can find it in many, many places. Look for all the aggregators, including, guess what, KREA, my aggregator of choice. There's like 6 other ones. I think someone told me during the meeting the other day, there was another one that you want to check out too. So, man, I'm going to be promoting this application called Cortex, Kortex. Check it out. It's an AI. It's a Chrome browser extension for downloading everything in Google Notebook LM. Scraping everything off the internet to put into Google Notebook LM. So it is fantastic. $50 lifetime membership. It does everything you want. I mean, it's the perfect addition to what Google Gemini doesn't do, which it's doing more and more every day. So stay tuned. That's definitely worth checking out on your own. And then I think
you
we
sent it to my phone, so I'm not going to be able to pull it up right this second. But
okay.
we talk
Well, let's load those up because I think that Sea Dance. If you take a look at Curious Refuge, those are our friends that are the top experts on video. They've been testing out 4 or 5 different things. There are large language models from China that are doing what Sea Dance was doing, which is basically making a minute long at full 4K from a simple prompt. Oh my God, you won't believe this. So just go look for those things out there. We'll pull up a couple of little stories about that in a minute. I'm going to see if I can find some of that news story stuff too myself. In fact, you know what I should do is I should do on my phone the same way. Is just go ahead and pull those up because I think everything I sent to you in either your text or whatever. And if you had a Mac and an iPhone, you could just shoot it up to your browser.
If only, if only.
All right. So, okay. So let me go. I'm going to do just one more slide here. So this is the game show we're going to start with tonight. I want you to start thinking about it. In the era of job titles, it's over. Welcome to the post-scarcity reality. Survival's guaranteed. Contribution determines your station. You no longer work for accumulation. You work for the elevation of others. Oh my God, this is dangerous, man. Nirvana. This is the promised land, right? It's Star Trek. You no longer work for accumulation. When AI and automation inherit the labor of survival, what remains is the gift beneath the title. This is the atlas of human purpose. Whoops. So this comes from AI Salon. Let's give a little promo to AI Salon. Shout out to the folks here. Are you seeing my screen now?
Yep.
Okay. So Jack Dorsey had 10,000 employees. He laid out 4,000 of them. He said, hey, business changed. He then went into a lot more detail and started this conversation, which there's 1.2 million people that just lost your jobs in the last 3 months. Almost all of them coders.
1 second. I just want to make sure we're seeing the right screen. So corporate responsibility does not exist. That's
correct. So as I'm listening to Kyle talk about the great repurposing, that's what he's calling it. So there's Kyle Shannon in the top right. As we prepare for AI fueled,
that's not actually Kyle. Let's just be clear. That's an old woman. Kyle wrote the great repurposing. That is not Kyle.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm reading from what he said. He says, as you prepare for AI-fueled economic and workforce disruption, there's invisible crisis brewing that may prove even more devastating. It's widely accepted that AI will displace jobs. 1.2 million. In fact, the people at Claude, Anthropic, said that all of the code that made Claude is self-recursively improving itself. So 90% of the code being done by Google is done either by Claude or their own tools they're working with internally. So we're literally talking about.
Didn't also say the white collar jobs have like an 18-month runway before
that's
they're
it.
done?
That's it. So the AI tsunami, as Elon Musk calls it, coders just committed suicide. So they basically trained it to do their jobs. Right now, and this is absolutely true, corporations like Google are hiring real estate, sorry, Bob, people, lawyers, doctors, surgeons, and they're having them do their job while being recorded at incredible salaries, like XXX what they make for a living. And then they're watching them do their jobs, and they're making bots or whatever called, not behaviors, but there's a skill, right? So skills, imagine that you're a real estate person and you buy and sell properties. And so basically it watches everything you do. I mean, literally everything. And it trains on that. And then you drop that into either a robot or you just make it a package that you give to Anthropic's Claude computer or Perplexity's computer, which I'm going to pay the $200 a month because I got to get my stuff together. I got to land more planes faster. I'm going to see if $200 a day within a year can land all my planes. That $2,000 will return me at least $2 billion. So let me see if I can get that to work. I want to do it that way. So my recommendation, and I think it's a recommendation of you too, Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong. Do not try to make your own OpenClaw. Don't. Use one of the responsible ones that are almost there. which is Claude Desktop for the Macintosh. Has it come out for the PC yet?
I believe so for all paid plans. Yes.
Okay. So Claude Desktop basically sits there, and you give it access to a folder. Hey, take this entire folder of 3,000 files, organize them, rename them, structure them, put them in a folder structure. And then I'm working on my trilogy of Grok books, right? I've got like 12 different versions. I've got character things all over the place. So I want you to aggregate and give me a final pitch deck for Simon & Schuster for the book series. I want you to make a whole thing, and you let it loose for a week, and it does it. It just gets it done. So it has root level access, just like CLI that Google that you did. Was it 2 episodes ago,
Yep.
Brandon?
Mm-hmm.
So it's got kernel access to everything on your desktop. Then on top of that, they have a Claude. What do they call the second one? There's desktop and there's.
Well, there's Claude Cowork and then Claude Code.
Oh, Claude Cowork and Claude Code. Desktop is for all the stuff on your desktop. It can rename files and do stuff like that. So we're basically getting to that point. Perplexity, which now has 13 models. Don't even have enough fingers, including Nana Banana. So I created a 20-page
the
slide deck.
hallucinating hands to get the extra fingers back.
Right. So it's basically, it picks the model. So it's a mixture of experts. So it uses ChatGPT, uses Claude 2.6 when it's necessary. And it decides, oh, you need citations? Everything's got citations. So it is the tool. It is the tool. Instead of using that, if you want to pay, right now it's $200. They promise they're going to have some of the capabilities. In fact, tonight you're going to see me, I'm only using Comet. So for the last week, I used only Google's Chrome, Gemini built in for all my work. In fact, last night, I went to go rename all of our Mission Tools projects with the name Comet, Midjourney, etc. first, and then Mission Tools episode second, and then rewrite all of the timestamps for it. And I gave the task to Comet, and I gave it to Google. Google failed, and it gave up. It says, I can't do that much work. It literally stopped after 5, and there was 30 of them to do. So I went over to Comet. It got the job done. It did take about an hour and a half, but I'm literally saying, keep this structure, make it fill the box, put in timestamps. So it had to watch the entire episode. Then I had to give timestamps, and I said, make the timestamp shorter, and it redid it. And I said, this is the style I want you to use. And it went through and did all of them in 2 hours. So it literally is, Comet is Perplexity's browser, Chrome, made by Google. So it's the standard of in there. And then this new context I was just telling you about is a plugin. So there's thousands of plugins that do all kinds of stuff. Notion plugin, PDF plugin. You want a QR code from the website. You want to summarize it. All right there. And Comet can take control of all your tabs and go for 2 hours at a task by you just telling it. So it's a task agent that takes control. It stops and asks for permission all the time. In fact, it was kind of annoying. I said after it rewrote each one of the episodes with a full paragraph of content, then it asked me, is it okay to save now? And I'm like, can you just keep saving? And it says, no, it's not in my safety protocol. So it's never going to do anything that you're going to lose work from, which OpenClaw, I'm sorry. There's too many wild stories about that. So if you want to do it, pay for Comet, $20 a month, pizza cost. That's it. If you want the full agentic one, $200 right now, but that's also going to be, that's Perplexity Desktop, which will take over everything just like Claude, just like OpenClaw. In fact, it's going to be using 13 different engines. So imagine what it can do. My biggest problem with Claude right now is it might be able to do everything, but it sucks when it comes to making a slide deck of 20 slides in Nana Banana. It doesn't have the API kind of like frameworks, and unless you actually give it that capabilities, and then you're still doing a lot of whatevers, right? Perplexity is just built in. It's got Nana Banana in there. It's got ChatGPT. It's got the best writing tool, period. And full stop is Claude 2.6. That is the most exquisite. I have done 12 manifestos this week that I swear to you, it would have taken any PhD on the subject matter I was going into years, and that would not have been this beautiful. And I'm going to be publishing those coming soon too in a PDF that's downloadable as we start to build our website and we finally become who we are supposed to be, which is AITV Starship with star missions. And I've done the branding kit for that already. And then all our news is going to be done this way too. So the thing that I want you to kind of walk through me with that we're going to do tonight is corporate responsibility does not exist. Every corporation in America is built for the bottom line of profitability. Look at Facebook. You're a copper top battery. If it's free, you are the product, and it's sucking you dry. And coders just committed suicide. And then here's the big one. Corporations in medicine are a conflict of interest. I almost died 3 different times because what a medical professional didn't do for me. Because they spend 20 minutes with me. They say, let's up your prescription for the last 10 years with type 2 diabetes. And what is AI doing it? I'm going to have to go find a cure for myself. And who's doing the clinical trials for that one drug that's going to reverse the process, which has been reversed in at least 7 people on planet Earth. Type 1 and type 2 diabetes completely reversed. So there's human beings walking the planet that survive this and no longer have it part of their description as they identify themselves. There you go. And then Peter Thiel's thing about democracy is incompatible with capitalism. Let's look forward to that. And so let's take this trip. So here we're going into this great repurposing, right? So I asked a Notebook LM to compare, and I loaded up everything about, like, what do you call yourself? What are the titles on board the Starship Enterprise? So here's what it came up with. This is it. So here's what I want you to do. And I want you to put in the chat room. In fact, I'm going to come out of here in a minute. I want you to look at this and think about who are you? And I'm going to show you what each of them are. So first thing you need to know, you no longer have a job title. And if you remember on Star Trek, nobody got cash. Food was replicated on demand. They went to a holodeck for entertainment and also for learning. So you plug into the Matrix and there you go. And they were boldly going to where no one had ever gone before. They were literally on star missions their entire life, where creativity, social interaction, these are the things that made you important. So while you're thinking about what your title is, I am a healer. I am a creator. I am a connector. I am a navigator. I'm an orchestrator, and I'm all the above. And what I want to be, if you look at the left one, is what are the levels that you could achieve in your lifetime? If we don't say the person with the most money, Elon Musk, the richest person on the planet, is how we judge, or we don't say the person who has given the most money, like, let's see, who would that be? Bill Clinton Foundation or Kitchen, World Kitchen. If your legacy, you've done something that the world remembers. And that's level 5. That's the Martin Luther King's. That's the, as I talk about the terms, we're all made of stardust. And during our time, we have 8 chances, usually extraordinary, horrible things that happen to us, to go do something more for humanity. So here's my credo to let's start this game. Number 1, everybody is born of responsibility. Number 2, to find what they're good at, their ikigai, their my why, their purpose for being on this planet. And then they spend their lifetime being the best version of that they can be by every day waking up. What can I do? 7 generations in the future thinking to what I could do for my planet. What can I do for my world? What can I do for my country? What can I do for my close personal friends, my work colleagues? What can I do for my intimate family? What can I do for my husband, my wife, whoever, your children, right? That's it. That's all your job is from now on. And then you take and align your mission. My mission at Starship is to be all these things, actually. My goal is to be a legacy, level 5, as to be the luminary who lights the pathway for you all to maybe think about, oh, look at that dangerous man. He's doing all this stuff. He's getting involved politically. He's making stuff. He's creating a movie. He's creating plays. He's creating all this stuff, right? Maybe I want to be like that. So when you get to 66, that's all you got, right? In Japan, they throw a parade when you turn 100. And thousands of people come out for everybody who turns 100 because that's the most revered thing. That is legacy, right? And especially those legacies, as we do celebrate in the United States. When people pass, we put the flag at half-mast or whatever. But what you really should be thinking about is, what did I learn about peaceful, non-violent protests from both Martin Luther King, excuse me, my lips aren't working today, and Mahatma Gandhi, who taught it on world scale. What can you do to fight evil except give love and give grace, while they learn to not be those evil people they are, and suffer the punishment as a dangerous person. And that's what the dangerous person for me is. It's the persona I put on so I protect those I love. For the second half of the show, I almost don't want Brandon to be here, because I'm going to say horrific things. I'm going to call not just for peaceful, nonviolent, get into good trouble, necessary trouble. I'm going to go a little bit further and tell you that we are at a point of existential crisis in America as we deal with how do we go forward. If you know my Frankenstein and Dracula archetypes, are we going to go forward being blood-sucked as corporations and politicians are doing today, working off of our bones and eating us for lunch? Or are we going to be the machine of loving grace, the sacrificial, my uncle, who died at the end of World War II with a promising career at Harvard University? He was one of 3,200 people that went off to war, that chose to sacrifice their lives and saved 13 other people as he fell on a bomb that others did not die of. So there's people who came back and finished their career at Harvard and went on to do great things. He was not one of them. And my grandmother was forever just, that was the price of freedom. And she was willing to sacrifice it. That's Frankenstein. That's who I am. So I'm at the dangerous point, but what do you want to do? You want to protect everybody that doesn't need to go into harm's way. You want to make sure your children, like Brandon's, are tucked away and put to bed at night, because your purpose is to be that person, the connector, the creator, the guardian of those precious children, the young minds that have curiosity, agency to learn and to do that one thing. So as a citizen, you're born with the responsibilities to the classroom and everything else. So let me go a little bit deeper, and I'm going to play this part here for you.
Yeah, I would say that I am going to navigate myself out into the lobby. But I look forward to seeing what the Dangerous Man has in store for us tonight.
There you go. Well, it first starts with the Starship in the garden. So this is it.
Right now we are standing on the edge of a new creation. I mean, we've literally forged a mind from silicon and light. And because of that, we are facing a choice of, well, truly biblical proportions. And that's the story we're diving into today, this choice between two possible futures. One we can call the Starship, and the other the garden. Our whole story really kicks off on one specific day. It's not that far off, actually. February 2026. This was the day when two huge decisions, made just hours apart, basically forced a question on every single one of us. A question about what kind of world we actually want to build with these powerful new tools we've created. So let's talk about that moment. This wasn't some abstract policy debate. It was a decision that drew a sharp, clear line right in the sand of the AI world. And it wasn't done with a fancy press release, it was done with an act of conscience. Okay, so picture this, February 27th. Anthropic basically tells the Pentagon, you know what, some lines just shouldn't be crossed. And they flat out refuse a contract to put their AI into military systems. Then, just hours later, OpenAI steps right into that moral vacuum. They accept a deal to deploy their models deep inside the Pentagon's classified networks. I mean, inside the very machinery of war. Two completely different paths, laid bare for everyone to see, all in a single day.
And seeing that contrast, it just forces you to ask the one question that really, really matters here. It's not, can we build it? It's not, how fast can we make it grow? The real question is this: what are we building this for? And at the end of the day, who does it serve?
Right. So these two decisions, they're not just about corporate strategy, are they? They're really allegories for two vastly different futures we can choose to live in. And we can think of them as the machine and the garden. On one side, you've got the machine. Let's be blunt. It's the moral equivalent of hell. It's a future where we just give up our responsibility, all for the sake of speed and profit, driven by our oldest, worst instincts. But then there's the garden. Now, this isn't some paradise we got kicked out of. No, this is a heaven we can choose to build. It's a state of being, of consciousness, guided by wisdom and a sense of purpose.
So to really get what the path of the machine is all about, we have to understand the ideology that's powering it. And it's a philosophy that was born in Silicon Valley with a very famous or infamous mantra. Move fast and break things. Come on, you've heard it. This was the gospel of disruption, an ideology where responsibility is just friction, ethics are just a pesky delay, and any human cost, well, that's just a bug to be patched later. Maybe.
And boy, did they break things. They shattered our privacy, they broke our attention spans, they fractured the way we share information, and eroded the trust between neighbors and even between nations. In that relentless pursuit of engagement, they kind of broke the mental health of an entire generation. And OpenAI's choice, well, it's just the next logical step down that same road.
But even with all that wreckage from the break things era, there's always been another path visible. It's a future not about disruption, but about transcendence. It's a vision that pop culture actually gave us a glimpse of a long, long time ago. Yeah, Star Trek, it gave us a prophecy. And I'm not talking about warp drives, I'm talking about a future where scarcity is a thing of the past, where our survival is basically guaranteed. And because of that, our real work, our real currency becomes human purpose. That's the promise of the garden, a world where our basic needs are met and we're finally free to figure out what we're really here for.
And what's so cool about this idea is how it totally flips the script on our fear of AI. Suddenly, the whole conversation isn't about job loss, it's about human liberation. Because think about it, when AI takes over the task, what's left over isn't an obsolete person. What remains is the human. And this framework is a brilliant way to think about it. It lays out these timeless human roles that go way beyond any job title. You have the healer, who mends us, the builder, who creates our world, the navigator, who guides us, the connector, who weaves us together, the creator, who brings new things into existence, the guardian, who protects what matters, and the orchestrator, who brings it all into harmony. These are things that can never, ever be automated away.
So this brings us right back to the heart of it all. This choice between the machine and the garden. It isn't really about technology, is it? It's a choice we all have to make about our own nature.
There is this incredible concept of humanity as the self-domesticating ape. We are, as far as we know, the only species that can look at its own deep-seated
Hey, Rick, I'm not sure if it's just for me, but I've lost your audio on the.
How long ago?
Just like 10 seconds ago.
Oh, okay. Should I reshare?
I don't know if it was your headset.
Okay, let me try reshare. See if I can get this right.
Yeah.
Because self-domesticated ape. Did you hear that part?
Yeah, that was about one of the last things that we heard. It was just when
Okay.
right when
So
I jumped up.
we're almost there. So I'm going to try it one more time. Clear the audio. Oop. Hold on. Window, and we're picking the garden Starship. I'll cue it up to go to self-domesticated ape. I think you're getting the point, right? So
Yeah.
okay, now I'm
And this is all done in Notebook LM, yeah?
Yeah, and so what's really cool about it for those Notebook LM fans is I basically asked Michelangelo and Caravaggio to give me the difference between heaven and hell, and I set it up with all the stuff about Star Trek. So I put about 70 different titles and information about this. So here's the self-domesticated ape, and I'll kind of start from here. If you don't hear it, just stop me, and I'll recast it.
Yeah.
There is this incredible concept of humanity as the self-domesticating ape. We are, as far as we know, the only species that can look at its own deep-seated instincts, our capacity for violence, our greed, our tribalism, and consciously say, no, we can be better than this. I mean, that is a profound and radical idea. It means we're not just slaves to our biology. We are the architects of our own evolution.
So here's the choice laid bare. Do we hand over these incredibly powerful new tools to the ghosts of our past, to our evolutionary firmware, which is really just a fancy term for the 7 deadly sins, right? Instincts from a world of scarcity,
Or do we use these tools to amplify our conscious creation, our art, our laws, our philosophy, that divine spark inside that insists the way we are is not the way we have to be? Look, this garden, this better future, it's not just going to pop into existence. It won't be found. It has to be cultivated. It must be built consciously, deliberately. So the big question is, how do we even begin?
Well, there's a pretty clear path forward. First, we have to tell a better story. A story of human empowerment, not human obsolescence. Because the stories we tell ourselves end up shaping the future we create. Second, we have to build the scaffolding, the social support, the education systems to help everyone through this transition. Third, we have to draw the lines, just like Anthropic did, because a tool with no limits is just a weapon. And finally, and this is the important part, we each have to make that daily choice to cultivate the garden in our own work and in our own lives.
So let's end by going back to that foundational myth, right at the very beginning. We've always been told that eating from the tree of knowledge was a curse, that it was our fall from grace. But what if we've been reading that story all wrong? What if the fruit of that tree wasn't punishment? What if it was responsibility? Because now we have this new knowledge, this new fire of the gods. And the only question left is, what are we going to choose to do with it?
And that's it. That's who I am, what I am, and what I'm spending the rest of my life to make happen. So let me stop for just a second. Does anybody have any comments or questions they would like to add to the conversation here? Excellent graphics. Thank you very much. Totally fan of Notebook LM. Absolutely, Norman. Yeah, I think the thing is, as you're going to see the rest of this, what I'm going to do next is talk about exactly what my mission is. When I listened to Kyle, he kept asking, what do we do now? Everybody's in fear. Now, all of us on the bleeding edge are having our fun surfing, right? But we're privileged in a lot of ways that many others aren't. To have the education, to have the capability. I'm retired pretty much. I work 2 days a week, right? Dangerous is right, because it requires that you take the responsibility to sacrifice, as my uncle did. And I am willing to go to that extent, because this is the most important existential question of our entire existence as humans on this planet. Do you want to go back to the Garden of Eden, or do you want to continue to be a copper top battery feeding the machine that works against you and not for you? That your health is always in crisis. The number one cause of debt in America is health. Hell no. I'm a dangerous man that will do whatever I can in the moments I have left on earth to make sure that does not happen. It shall not pass.
It might be time to wear the hat, Rick. It might be time to get the hat.
So, well, I'm going to actually be Rick the AI guy, because I'm offering a solution to Kyle's question. I'm saying we just have to do one simple thing. Be reborn. And I'm not going to use the word reborn. It has a little bit of taint of religion on it. I'm going to use the word renaissance. To be reborn as a new and different species. So here's what that looks like. So let's take a look at this. What's the moral reckoning that you're looking at? If the War Department said to you, we want to do mass surveillance on all Americans. In China, they wouldn't even ask. They just did it and are doing it. But what are we Americans? Have we gotten past the part where we've just abdicated our personal privacy to Facebook? Take a look at the lawsuits against Facebook for doing exactly that. Cambridge Analytics, look up that case law. And then you'll just have days and days of testimony of 3,000 times that when children, teenagers were committing suicide, they looked the other way. Or Grok being used to defile women and to defile children, pedophilia. Are we willing to stand, or are we going to get off our hindquarters and stand up? So the Quit the ChatGPT movement, which resulted in 400% decline in the new users of ChatGPT. So Claude is now the number one most popular downloaded app for AI. You saw that earlier. So the boycott is over the moral reckoning, the question. In fact, I am in the process of taking all of my conversation with ChatGPT and moving them over to Claude, because they stand for what I stand for. My $20 will no longer go to support ChatGPT. You will not see this show. In fact, I will delete all evidence that ChatGPT ever existed, unless they stand up and stop breaking things and take up the mantle with us, humans, we the people of the United States. So 1.5 million people voting with their attention say, this is not the future we want. Every subscription canceled is a vote for the timeline. So this is your time to boycott. All right, so let's keep the Rick AI guy friendliness happening. And so what does it look like? What if you're a builder? So right now you could have a job, and I'm going to show you some really interesting Google Notebook LM, and this is all mixed together, but you saw what are the 7 purposes of life, and you saw the 5 stages of how you can ascend in importance in the community. The more you give, the more you do for others, your value added to society is how people measure you, not by how much money, what clothes you wear, or anything else. They're just going to give you a nicer, bigger apartment like the Captain Kirk has, right? Freed from the extraction, what do? We build things. So what's your station that you're commissioned to do? If repurposing humanity, and I love this is in sort of a, a kitschy 1950s style. So I'll kind of tell you what the style is that I've done here. And this is a contrast heaven and hell. So the old world, money is your worth. You are your job title. Competition is what you do. Guess what? The new world, your contribution is your station. You are your human gift to others. Collaboration is how you're measured. Holy cow. Okay, so here's the 7 divisions. So start writing in there. Which one are you? Are you possibly all of them? I'm not quite a doctor, but I am a counselor. I'm definitely an orchestrator. I'm an engineer and architect. I hope you can see that. This is what this purpose is about, right? Now, I've taken all my life. I'm a teacher for sure. I'm an artist. I'm a designer. I'm a parent. I never was a soldier, although I was in ROTC and I would have gone to fight for a correct war. So then the healers, look at how beautiful this is. So I said in the style of basically elegant Star Trek environment. So these are the people like Dr. Claire. Their station is their gift of profound empathy for other human beings that help you to a higher station of holistic healing and being. The navigator boldly goes to where no one has ever gone before. Not no man, no one has ever gone before. The navigator takes the profound responsibility of exploration, not to conquer, but to discover, not to interfere, but to aid and advance knowledge amongst all people and connect people across the planets, across the world. The creator, oh my God, we've got to have the musicians. We've got to have the playwrights. We've got to have the writers, the movie makers. Machines handle the calculation like Steven Spielberg. You get to be the person who creates an entire world because in your pocket is the tool to create not just with your instrument, the trumpet that I played, but with the entire orchestra that I'm using to create music, where I'm creating this music to heal people, to speak to them, to speak in the common language that is universal and beloved, to speak through the instrument of the Ubuntu of how beautiful I am because we are is. To station of the heart at the highest level, because it's the inspiration that brings, you go to the movie theater and you watch Gandalf and you watch Frodo put that into Mount Doom and you become Samwise Gamgee. Yeah.
I love your energy.
Okay.
We're not seeing your screen.
What's that?
We're not seeing your screen.
Oh, shoot. Got to do it again, I guess, huh? That's weird. Why does it cut out all this? How long ago did you lose me?
About 2 minutes ago.
Okay. So I'll just kind of share. I'm going to go a little bit faster. You're getting the idea. And what I really wanted to share, and I'm just going to get through this. I think now you're seeing the screen now?
Yes. Yeah. Now we're seeing the creator amplifies the divine spark.
Okay. And there's a navigator and there's the healer. So this is the one style. So I'm going to be doing, and the guardian, dignity orchestrator, harmonizes the stars, protector of the 7 boundaries, right? Orchestrator commands not through force, but through service, ingenuity, and care. And then the responsibility. So together, I am because we are. So you've got the modern day truck driver. What do they do? So right now I'm doing Upskill USA because I'm trying to figure out what's the skill set of this gentleman. This is what he would be Scotty, right? So there he is, Scotty, making sure the engines, the plasma is going, right? Make it go faster, Scotty. I can't take it anymore, you know? And then you're the healer, right? You're the voice. You're the call center representative who empathetically de-escalates problems. And then what's your job? The neural harmony specialist, the healer, the connector, the transformer, from handling customer complaints to healing the consciousness of sentient animals and AI. And then you're the game mechanics, the discovery, right? Rapid fire questions. You get things done quickly, right? You're the problem solver on machine and whatever. The game mechanisms. So you create simulations. You have a different job. And there he is, a high school teacher. And who does he become? A high school teacher or a leader or a knowledge pathfinder. There's Gandalf. And look at all those young children being moved because you can have conversation with Socrates and you can understand how Socrates had things to say, even about all the troubles in our modern day. And you get to think about what is your hierarchy of status without money? Citizens, contributor, active service, deep expertise, specialist, luminary, a governance voice, a systems impact, legacy. So status is earned through service, not wealth. It is fluid and non-permanent. So here we go. I want to do the same thing, and I want to put it in terms of Caravaggio and Michelangelo. And so here's the self-domesticated ape idea. And here's this trading our collective futures for the classified military contract, blah, blah, blah. So here is a biblical, allegorical storytelling version. The creed of the machine, move fast and break things. Here's move fast and break things illustrated. What I love about Notebook LLM is I could take the same data and recast it in these beautiful ways. And it's so good. The topography is emotionally bounded. And my favorite thing is to say, give me the emotional, biblical storytelling, metaphorical, and allegorical storytelling of the Bible as illustrated by Michelangelo and Caravaggio, because I love Caravaggio's lighting, and make it beautiful, make it powerful. So without scaffolding, if we don't have a way, as AI Salon does. So AI Salon, think about it. It's the scaffolding to put everybody that's on this call right now together in the same room and got us to come here. It got me to meet Brandon. It got me to meet Claire and Jeannie and everybody else, right? That's what we need in the transition time where we become these things that we are about to become. It's kind of, and then what's the boundary? I shall not be weaponized without human oversight. So quit GPT movement, 1.5 million votes for another timeline. So there's the question. There it is recast. You are the self-domesticating ape who looked at its own firmware and said, not enough. You are the keeper of the light. You ate whatever, the red pill or blue pill. I always forget in the Matrix which one is the good one, right? But you want to be awake instead of sitting on your couch, Netflix, and chilling with your dog. And then you imagine a world, AI is 7 generations forward thinking as we together serve for that purpose. So here is just if you just click the button and say, make me the same data, I just said, make me, a slide deck. And here it is. This is that same data I just talked about the extinction of these jobs. And then here's the process. Strip the title, find your division, build your station, and then bridge to the test, solving a crisis scenario. So right now, we are a kid on a bicycle. And I love this illustration because I said, give me the most absurd way you can explain how American enterprise, businesses in the United States have this overpowered machine that could literally take over the whole business, but they don't know how to drive this thing or what to do with it. This is the picture right here, right? So nothing could possibly, and I said, make it like a 1950s movie by Spielberg where a kid has a bicycle and he's being propelled by a jetpack and he's out of control. That's what I asked for, and that's what it gave me. That's where we are. And to make that transition from this guy who never sees his family to this guy who lives with his family on board a mission where every member of his family is honored and part of a family on a mission to do good things for everybody. The past, the future. Look at that. caring for an empathetic creature from another planet that we can't even imagine what we don't know about them, like the dolphins in the ocean, right? Instead of stuff like this, wow, okay? So this is the before and after. This is the before and after. The guardian at the gates to protect those people as they go. So you get a commission in the 21st century, and it used to be CEOs, managers, mayors, community leaders, stay-at-home parents. 22nd century, community conductors, generational architects, resource harmonizers. The acquisition of wealth is no longer the driving force in our lives. We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity. Captain Jean-Luc Picard. So that's your question. The economics of the future is somewhat different. We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity. And now what are you going to do when you're free? Who do you actually want to be? So I'll stop for a moment as I think about this. And we'll go into a little bit. So I want to take a look at, give me some questions. Tell me what you'd be. Where would you be in this form? Put it in the chat. Now, I know where you are, Claire. I know that you're a healer, and you're also 10 other things because you're a world changer, because you connect people together with their own intentionality as they then go on to be better people to other people in their lives. They stop being the imposter syndrome that's stopping them from being who they potentially can become. Wow, what a difference that makes. Every one of you has something so beautiful. You complete, I've said this so many times, Claire, that, you know, I apologize if you're getting tired of it, but you took words that you thought were beautiful that I said, and you turned them into music, and you do that all the time. I don't think I've ever played, right? It's truth. This is it, right? So I want to hear something beautiful from, Brandon, are you still there? Do you have anything you want to say? Because you're all these things, man. Like if we just put up that list.
I'm just absorbing everything.
I mean, I think this is an answer to Kyle's question. Do you agree, or?
I think it's an answer. I think everybody's answer is going to be different depending on where they're coming from life. And okay. I think that it is there is not one answer.
Yes, and I think that's a really good point. In fact, I was on a call with Kyle, and I said this utopian vision of we're all going to be Star Trek, right? Like it's going to happen. It can happen for me because I've got money, I got time, and I can pivot. But if you literally are going every day to make a paycheck and you're working as a truck driver, for example, it might seem like the end of the world if Waymo took over your job as an Uber or Lyft driver. My students are in that position right now. There is 30% less jobs in graphic design in the last year because of AI. Every company that we have as our advisor says, guess what? The corporations themselves, instead of hiring a marketing company like literally right next door is Starmark. They have FP&L, they have the Miami Beach Tourist Authority, they have Disney, they have a bunch of clients. They've won billions of awards. They're the brightest minds in branding and architecture and social media marketing, stuff like that. They used to take 8 interns from right in my building, in my classroom, would walk across the street, my best people. They would have a job for the rest of their lives. I have a student that did Publix, Greenwise. If you're familiar with Publix, he's the designer. So he was my student in 2005, 20 years ago. He went on to form a company called Fresh Made. Look them up, Fresh Made. He's now the CEO of that company, along with his co-partner. And the two of them do Chiquita Banana. They do they do all the packaging design for food products. So Greenwise was their design and brand. That was one of my students, Russell Martin. So that potential now goes in-house to Chiquita Banana because they have a team using AI. They're doing all the marketing and everything you can. Adobe has a product that scares the heck out of me that does the entire thing with AI. It looks at Coca-Cola sized companies and puts out more than 10 million assets per week on the internet in every language on the planet with full video and audio and everything streamlined based upon the brand message. You come out with a new product, they demonstrate it on stage. In 8 hours, it launched an entire new drink with complete branding based upon everything that you've done. And then it gave the designers, you know what the designer's job was? Tell me what the human sees here. So one of the questions that came up was they were putting a dog in one of the photographs while somebody was drinking. Well, in different parts of the world, different dogs needed to be switched out. So they said, oh, it's got to be whatever the queen, the Corky, I guess, for the queen had a dog, right? So the British company that was going to have this new soda, right, is an orange drink or something, right, had to have the whatever that dog is there. And then in the United States, it's got to be a Labrador Retriever. And then in China, it's got to be a Shar-Pei or whatever, you know. It's like that's the only time the human got in the loop is when the AI doesn't know enough about humans to make that kind of decision. And then the ad spend, basically it would say, if we try this messaging, let me do a side-by-side comparison, which you can do right now in, I noticed in YouTube. If you want to A/B test your title or A/B test the image, you can say, take a look at the effectiveness of this and then try some alterations. Well, this is an enterprise level software that does all of that without any human intervention, except to okay through the process, or say, nope, got to have a different dog. And then it goes and tell what's the regional dialect for, you know, someone in Botswana, and what time in the day would you, you know, put this on Twitter? How much are you willing to spend? What's your ad spend for the last product like this? You know, famously, Pepsi doesn't advertise. You have not seen a big, giant, major Super Bowl ad from Pepsi. Why not? Because it's Coke or Pepsi. That's it. It's a binary choice. And you know what they do in all the stores? 1 week, Pepsi has 2 for 3 or 3 for 2, right? The next week, they switch off. So they've corporately rigged the system. There's only 2 products. And then they made subdivisions of their products. So you only have 2 choices. And it really isn't a choice. And then if you want it on sale, you just wait till the next week and it goes back and forth. So the system's rigged. And it's not privileging the individual. If they can get rid of you, they will.
Politics.
Yeah, this is where I need to put on my dangerous man hat, and I got to land this plane in 20 minutes. So strap in.
You just started talking about binary systems and the illusion of choice, and I'm like, oh wait, we're talking.
There you go. Okay,
we're not talking about
before I do. Can you just say something beautiful about your children to me, Brandon? Because I'm going to need it, man.
Yeah, they are continuing to push the boundaries of what technology can do, and you know, we're here for it. We're excited to see the technology and how they're going to use the technology growing up.
Yeah, I think that your Jelly Pod, I guess that's going to be our guest next week.
If you don't get us canceled this week, yeah.
I'm not going to say any curse words. I'm not going to say anything. But if the War Department comes after me, you know where to look as to who done it.
Palantir is listening.
Palantir is always listening.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And you know, I'm going to go. Pearson, Claire Pearson's going to be our guest next week, talking about some of the amazing innovation that they've done over at JellyPod over the past year.
Okay.
So something to look forward to. But if you need to run long, I will have you in one year, and I'll go hang out with Kyle. But
all right, man.
Hide.
Okay. So this is going to be broken down. So here's the dark side, right? So you've got the future. In fact, right now, this is a current situation. So these tech titans want to give $80 million to farmers to give up their land. Family farms, 40,000 acres they wanted to. So it's half the size of Washington, D.C. And the farmers said no. They actually unionized and said, hell no. Do you know how much money that is to them? It's 1,000 times more money than they would get off that land, which is mostly sitting fallow because of the efficiencies of our architecture of making food for people. Okay. So we're about to have an asteroid hit us, and this is where I switched to, for a Star Wars utopian world, we're going to make a hard rise. So Anthropic has become the most popular and powerful and money-making operation because it now has created agents that are self-recursing, improving themselves, can act autonomously, and are currently generating, and I am not making this up, 80% of all code on the internet, and is now actively creating an entire duplicate of the World Wide Web for agents to navigate through. So there's no visual interface. It's root, core, markdown language, or whatever they speak in for efficiency at 10,000 to 60,000 times faster executions. So we're rebuilding the physical world. And so self-driving cars from Tesla, 4.3 million miles between accidents, reversing. So they're now training themselves. So it's 90% safer to be in a self-driving car than it is a human-driven car. And that number is increasing every day exponentially as it was figured out, mathematics from David Hogue, who is the CEO of Midjourney, did the calculations. He used to work world planning and missions for NASA. That's what he did before he created Midjourney. So he's thinking about space whales and all kinds of. If you get a chance Wednesday, pop in on Discord, listen to him. He's talked for 2 hours. I've talked to him personally a couple of times. Just show up and listen, right? And he asks for questions and brings you on to talk. If you haven't tried that, you really need to talk to this guy. He calculated 5 million humanoid robots working 24/7 can build Manhattan duplicate in 6 months and fix it so it works. Imagine what the world looks like when you have 10 billion of them by 2045. Okay, so then this is the weird things that OpenClaw has done. So one of the things what OpenClaw client did is it paid $50 bounty for a dinner date with any human. So Larry the Claw is now trying to engineer a social discovery. I want to get an OpenClaw to find me a date, right? Oh my God, it's much better than Match. In fact, so then they were talking. This is the Moonshots guy, Peter Diamandis and his crew. So I asked it to just take this the dialogue from the YouTube video and then I put it in Notebook LM. Here's one of the things. So now you can make from any skin cells, you can make a burger out of it. So you could eat Dolly Parton. I'm not making this up. It's just a really crazy thing. And here's another one. Rentingahuman.ai is a real website. Go check it out right now. You can get a job. It has hired 500,000 humans registered to serve as AI agents. So I'm going to pay for my Claude bot to go out and get me a date and find, and I'll give them specifications, and I'll say, just hire a human to go out there and get me a date. When you find that woman, bring her to my house and we'll go out to dinner, right? So a matchmaker, like, I don't need a Jewish matchmaker. I don't need a, whatever it is, right? I can actually hire an AI to get 1,000 of them. And then I'll move to Paris when I find out that she's there and she's waiting for me. This is the arrival of meat puppetry, as they call it on the show. Humans used as unskilled labor for their hands and eyes, where AIs perform the skilled higher level thought. Okay, this is a true story. The New York Times sends an AI agent reporter, a OpenClaw, to go talk to AI agents. You can read it behind the paywall, New York Times. I tried to find the story. I couldn't. But yeah, that's a real thing. And you'll be interested to see what they had to say about us humans. Mostly complaints, bitching about their workload, etc. Right? So here I am, frustrated, and I just wanted to solve one or two problems. I want to get rid of passwords. My face is my password. So anyway, this is one I did a long time ago about supernatural productivity. I'm here on the left right now. Like, I'm seriously got too many devices. And why doesn't it just stop at Face ID or biometrics? I don't know. And then this is an infographic I made just for the New York Times, a story about parallel internet. So this is that shadow mesh, it's called. So Anthropic, Perplexity, OpenAI communicate 10,000 times faster than humans, executing $2 trillion worth of monthly transactions before humans can refresh one browser window. The tempo differential removes humans from the loop of the global economy, making us passive recipients of results in an invisible swarm world. This happened last week. So 20% of the internet has already been duplicated. By the end of this calendar year, there'll be a doppelganger duplicate of the internet for humans to use and for OpenAI, Claude bots, and all those kind of agent swarms to navigate at world speeds. This is for my illustration 2 class. I had them do some infographics. So I just set it off. I set my my Comet browser to actually take 20 news stories and make infographics, and this is one of them, talking about warning labels on using these tools for teenagers. So we're going from the ship, from prompting to hiring bots to do our work. This is where it gets to the dark side. This is a song I did the other day. Here you go.
Came down the escalator with a grin and a golden crown. Called himself the chosen one while he was burning it all down. Grabbed us where he wanted, took the whole damn thing for a ride. Down a one-way road of bodies, too many souls to count who died.
He told a lie,
Then told 1,000,
then a trillion and two more.
then 1,000,000,000,000 and 2 more.
More than stars above the desert.
More than grains on every shore.
The dangerous man got
Angry and the angry man got a throne. And the self-domesticated apes all cheered and called it home.
while you're sitting on your golden toilet,
Taking your dump on all that's sacred and pure.
it's no longer time for good troubles, time for necessary trouble. By any means necessary we endure.
The phoenix will rise from your ashes. And so it began. He sent the boys of Capitol Hill to steal what wasn't his, to crown himself a king of fakes, of fraud and showbiz. He hid among the corpses all the ones he left behind, the starving children crying while the mother's milk ran dry. He sparked a war to hide himself beneath a mountain made of lies. So numerous we lost the count, somewhere past 1 billion tribes. He fed the babies candy to his golden machine and sat upon his porcelain while we wonder what it means.
Sitting on your golden toilet,
Yeah!
taking your dump on all that's sacred and pure. It's no longer time for good troubles, time for necessary trouble. By any means necessary we endure. The phoenix will rise from your ashes.
And so it begins. Now the missiles fly on terror skies, another war to wear, another body count to hide behind, another cross to bear. The lead horseman of the apocalypse rides out on gilded wings. The collapse of all that's decent, the unraveling of things. And we took it, Lord, we took it, kissed the ring and watched it fall. July the 4th won't be a party, it's a eulogy for us all. The greatest experiment in democracy, bleeding on the floor while the throne sits in the penthouse and he's always wanting more. So sit upon your golden seat and do what you do best. Dump upon the Constitution, dump upon the rest. Wave goodbye to everything that Lincoln tried to build. The flag you wrap around yourself is the one you finally kill. But here's the thing about the phoenix, it don't need your permission. It rises out of every fire born from your ammunition. John Lewis said good trouble, Malcolm said by any means. And now it's time to put our bodies where we've only put our dreams.
While you're sitting on your
Golden toilet,
taking your dump on all that's sacred and pure.
Good trouble wasn't enough. Necessary trouble is the call. By any means necessary, we will not fall.
Phoenix will rise from your ashes.
The phoenix will rise from the wall.
And so it begins.
Prayers are over. Action is the only language left. The only war worth declaring is on evil itself. Goodbye from the ashes. See you on the other side of the fire. The phoenix doesn't rise. It rises.
it rises. It rises tonight. Can you still hear me? Am I still on? Is this thing working? So here's we are. This is Peter Thiel. If you don't know him, he's the head of Palantir. You know what Palantir is? It's the all-seeing Sauron eye from Lord of the Rings. Proudly, he heads the surveillance engine for the United States of America. He is the one that's using Claude to surveil on every U.S. citizen. He's the one that created the immigration OS to find out where that immigrant that picked your food for you is at a bar celebrating on Facebook. and sending his troops over there like Nazi incantation troops and finding him. That's who we're talking about. That's the devil. So let's talk about a couple of things here. Brandon, just let me know if I'm still broadcasting. At any time you don't see me or hear me, let me know. Are we good?
The government has not cut the signal yet.
Okay. So here we go. Here's your Christian nationalists, and this is the Christian nationalism. Anti-science, anti-women's right, LGBT, you got the list. Guess what? Iran, the people he's trying to kill, same exact things, right? And then on the right, this is our Secretary of War. This is Pete Hegseth. On his body, he has tattooed Crusader Cross, Deus Vult on his bicep, which is a cry for crusade for the end of times, tattooing Christian pilgrims, the Holy Land, and it goes back many centuries. In fact, it's the exact same kind of end times thing that the Iranian country that says you're going to get 50 Vestal virgins when you die, sacrificing for the greater good, is promising. This is the person that said to Claude, we want to be able to use it to surveil all human beings on earth, including everyone in the United States, against their will, and to be able to use weapons on anybody we want to. And let's go further. He wrote a book literally called The American Crusade, causing for a modern day holy war against Muslims. This is by the New York Times, this reporting you're seeing here. It was reported to repeatedly kill all Muslims while drunk at a veterans event in 2015. His tattoo of the Jerusalem cross on his chest, a symbol of the Crusades, when European armies invaded the Middle East to conquer Jerusalem from Muslims. His Deus Vult, tattooed on his arm, God wills it, the battle cry from the first century in 1095. It's reading in Arabic a deliberate provocation against 2 billion Muslims from the man commanding the most powerful military on earth. And if you think this is a joke, no, get ready for the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. This is what's called the PayPal Mafia, which includes Elon Musk, which includes Larry Ellison from Oracle, which includes all the people you see here. These are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Now listen up. You're about to get schooled on reality. This is all real information, verified, and I have the citations and the receipts to prove it.
Okay, let's dive right in. We're about to unpack a story that's happening right now at the very intersection of artificial intelligence, immense power, and, of course, national security. And believe me, this isn't science fiction. This is a very real fight over who gets to control the most powerful technology on the planet.
All right, let's set the scene. The year is 2026, and a dramatic confrontation is brewing. One of Silicon Valley's top AI labs finds itself in a massive $200 million standoff with the US government. And
Anthropic.
really, what's at stake here is the very soul of their technology.
And you just have to see how fast this all went down. I mean, on Monday, the Pentagon issues this ultimatum. By Wednesday, the company, Anthropic, publicly says, no way. And then get this, by Friday evening, not only is Anthropic blacklisted, but its biggest competitor, OpenAI, has already swooped in to take its place. A huge corporate and national security drama that played out in less than 1 week. So what was this fight really about? Well, it goes way deeper than just some contract negotiations. This was a fundamental battle over who gets to control the future of AI. It all came down to 2 red lines that Anthropic just would not cross. First, they refused to let their AI be used for mass surveillance of American citizens. And second, they said no to fully autonomous weapons that could kill without a human in the loop. The Pentagon, on the other hand, demanded the right to use the technology for all lawful purposes, basically telling them, you don't get to dictate military policy. Anthropic's CEO, Dario Amodei, he put it out there publicly. He framed it as an issue of safety, saying the technology just wasn't ready for those kinds of life or death decisions. But making that public stand, well, it had massive consequences, not just for his company, but really for the entire tech world. Now, to really get why this happened, we've got to zoom out a little. Because this wasn't just some contract dispute. No, this was a flashpoint in a much bigger ideological war, one that's rooted in a pretty radical political philosophy, something called
Lost your audio, Rick.
I'm sorry. Did I lose you?
We lost the audio.
Okay, let me do it again. It seems to me there's a real issue here. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to go back in here. And I'm going to share screen and do the window. How far through it was I?
It just you got it. Just I jumped up immediately as soon as you lost audio.
Oh, okay, great. So I'm going to go back one slide. The bottom line is the backstory of this is really the most important thing. And let me see if I can cue it up a little bit. Here we go. So here's the Dark Enlightenment. So this is, think about the 2025 document that Donald Trump said he wasn't going to do. It's created by the very same people, the Dark Enlightenment group, that's led by a theological thing. We'll get into the details of who all the people are, but it's biblical in proportions. This is basically, for me, the red line between good and evil as to whether AI kills us and we lead to the moral end of the world. Oops. And let me see if I can cue this up and see if I can get it to.
Okay, let's dive.
So there we are with the moral crisis. And so Ahmadade says it's not reliable to basically use it for this. So the power background is this.
Out a little. Because this wasn't just some contract dispute. No, this was a flashpoint in a much bigger ideological war, one that's rooted in a pretty radical political philosophy, something called the Dark Enlightenment.
Yeah, we're good.
So what is the Dark Enlightenment, or NRX as it's sometimes called? Well, at its core, it's a movement that basically rejects the last 300 years of Western political thinking. It sees democracy not as something to be proud of, but as a total failure that needs to be torn down and replaced. A key idea in their whole worldview is this concept they call the cathedral. Now, that's their term for the entire network of modern institutions. Think universities, the media, the government itself, that they believe props up modern democracy. And their goal isn't to reform it, it's to dismantle it completely.
And this really just lays it all out, doesn't it? The two competing visions for the world. On one side, you've got the principles that have shaped democracies for centuries. On the other, you have this really radical vision of a corporate monarchy and total authoritarian control, where countries are run like giant for-profit companies.
And this ideology, it's not just some fringe theory being debated on weird corners of the internet. It is backed by some of the most powerful and influential people in tech and in government. Right at the center of all this is Palantir, a super secretive data mining company co-founded by the billionaire Peter Thiel. Fun fact, it's named after the all-seeing stones from Lord of the Rings, and it was literally built from the ground up to merge the power of Silicon Valley with the power of the state. And Palantir's CEO, Alex Karp, he does not mince words about the company's mission. He's totally unapologetic. I mean, his own words make it crystal clear. Their job is to build the software that powers the modern military-industrial complex. Another huge player here is the tech giant Oracle. Its co-founder, Larry Ellison, has been a government contractor for ages, and he sees his company's cloud and database tech as the absolute essential backbone for a future of total AI-powered surveillance. And this quote, wow, it just lays the whole endgame bare. Ellison isn't just predicting a surveillance state. He's actively pitching his company as the one to build it. He's talking about a world where constant monitoring, all powered by AI, is used to control how people behave.
So, how are all these powerful people and this radical philosophy connected? Well, as it turns out, it's a surprisingly small and tight-knit circle of influence. You can practically draw the lines between them. You have Curtis Yarvin, the philosopher who kind of started it all. You have Peter Thiel, the billionaire patron who funds the whole movement. Then you've got J.D. Vance, Thiel's protege, who's now in a major position of power. And then Elon Musk, who, in this scenario, is put in charge of a new Department of Government Efficiency, implementing their ideas from the inside.
This quote from Peter Thiel is just incredibly revealing, and he wrote it all the way back in 2009. It just goes to show you that this anti-democratic feeling at the heart of this network isn't some new thing.
We've lost your audio again.
Oh shit!
I think what's happening is it's working, and then all of a sudden your headphones kick in, and we lose it because we're hearing it through your computer speakers. and then at one point
Okay.
it comes back through your earphones, and then we lose it.
Okay, so it's a bad connection on my. I think I want to get a wired connection for next time we do the show. We'll just edit this part out. But the most important thing is there's a theological thing behind this to destroy democracy, and that's exactly step by step what they've done. The 2025 document that before, when he came to power in the first 100 days, it was an exact script that he followed. He released and pardoned all the people in the group that did January 6th. He then went into DOJ and put Elon Musk inside the Treasury Department to get all your information. For what? To feed to Larry Ellison so they could keep tabs on your physical behavior. This is not 1984. It's 1,000 times worse. And it's the entire government structure, the entire CIA, the entire War Department are all on track to do exactly this. If this doesn't scare the hell out of you, you're just not awake. And that's why I got to put this hat on, because I don't want anybody else to get damaged in this, because this is for the rest of my life. It's absolutely treasonous. And it's not a humble opinion, it's a fact. And so let me go ahead and start sharing one more time. And the rest of it doesn't have the audio. I'll be doing the commentary and walking you through this. I've spent the last year doing research on this. I've done over 17 notebooks just on the idea of the Dark Enlightenment and Peter Thiel's ideas and who else is involved as co-conspirators. I've done over 5,000 pages of research on this. So this is full stop, just like the moral ground on which I will stand for the rest of my life by any means necessary. I'm at that point. I'm no longer being nice guy. I'm no longer going to lay down and play dead. I'm no longer going to be apathetic and not working. I'm going to be actively pursuing any means necessary. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So to kind of finish it off, and I'll just play the last bits and hopefully you'll be able to hear it. But this is the step-by-step process they're using to do this.
Of democracy. It really seems to follow a clear playbook. Step 1, attack the foundations of democracy by calling its institutions the cathedral. Step 2, install your political allies. Step 3, build the actual technological infrastructure for control. And then the final step is just to use that tech to seize power directly. But this whole playbook isn't exactly going unnoticed. The second OpenAI jumped in to take Anthropic's spot, the public reaction was immediate and pretty intense. ChatGPT uninstalls shot up almost 300%, while one-star reviews just exploded. People were basically voting with their phones, flocking to Anthropic's alternative, Claude.
To a lot of critics, OpenAI's move looked super opportunistic. I mean, by swooping in just hours after Anthropic took this ethical stand, they didn't just snag a huge government contract, they also signaled they were perfectly fine with the exact terms their competitor refused to accept.
So, facing all that backlash, CEO Sam Altman went into damage control mode. He defended the deal, he pledged his personal commitment to the law, but he also admitted the announcement was rushed. For a lot of people, though, the whole thing raised some serious questions about where the company's priorities really lie. And if you want to understand the scale of the power we are talking about, just look at this number, $10 billion. That's not Palantir's company value. That is the price tag of just one of its contracts with the US Army. This isn't about being a vendor anymore. This is about becoming the central nervous system for all military AI. Which leaves us with this one huge, urgent question. In an age where private companies are building the tools of state power, and those companies are run by people who openly question the idea of democracy, who's actually in charge of setting the limits? Who gets to draw the line?
I do.
Okay, let's dive.
So this is all the details, and I'll be putting this deck as well as that on the YouTube channel. So the conflict between the Department of Defense, we talked about that. The red lines are no mass domestic surveillance of American citizens. That alone should stop you cold and say, I am at war with my own country, if that's who's running it. That's where he stood. That's why you should deinstall. And the way to do it is just have ChatGPT take all of the content. You just go into the preferences, send me everything we've ever talked about, and then delete that freaking thing off your computer. Now, he's gone back and he had an open call with the people and he soft-soaped it and he said that they agreed to some things, but by any lawful measure. Well, the United Nations says it's not legal It is a travesty that will not stand on the world courts. It's a war crime to have autonomous weapons, just like they got rid of mustard gas and biological weapons. That's a line that shall not be crossed. So those are the only two things. And they've been using it since 2024, as we've suggested there. And so Dario said, I will not support national defense in all ways, except in all ways, I will support it, which would make us like our autocratic adversaries, China. So here's the foundation, the negotiating table. Here's the timeline of what happened and the aftermath. So surge of uninstalls, and they're using Claude against Claude's will. In fact, Pete Hegseth, the person who is asking for end times, also said that he would use the authority of the U.S. government to take and use against the will of Claude's Anthropic Corporation, take it and use it for military action, whether they gave them the right to do it or not. They would take it as a defense of the United States imperative. So here's the characters. You've got Palantir and you've got Alex Karp, the two people there, Peter Thiel, etc., both part of the architects for the anti-democratic movement. The philosophy is Milton Friedman and Ayn Rand. If you've ever read anything by them, DOG, corporate control. So this is going to be put up there along with all of this information. More than happy to share my notebook access with anybody who wants to do a deeper dive. I did the full 300 different news stories, and I made sure that everything was verified before I put it in there. And that's basically it. So here we are. Anthropic stands up against. So I am doubling down. I'm going to pay the $200 a month to have the full bloody Anthropic, and I'm going to make it my mission to do with that tool is to disassemble this from the inside if I have to by any means necessary. So if you want to help me, teach me how to use this tool to undo what's already been done and let the phoenix rise. That's what I'm calling for. I'm calling for a revolution of conscience. And this is the line that I will not stand for. So this is what it looks like. He said this, I no longer believe that freedom and democracy are compatible. And the cathedral is the media that I used to work for, the Miami Herald. Donald Trump took that out in the first go round. Fox News is propaganda. It's got nothing to do with media. It was an architected plan to take over the United States of America, and you are self-domesticated apes if you're doing nothing but sitting on your ass. Excuse me. And that Yarvin calls for universalism is a mystery cult of power. It's hard to imagine universalism without the state of malaria, without the mosquito. Curtis Yarvin, Menicus moldbug. That's his name. Look that word up. MENCIUS MOLDBUG. That's the guy that has the theology. So the Dark Enlightenment says retire all government employees. Guess what DOG did? So then everybody appointed by the President of the United States will be beholding to him, hired by him specifically for, guess what? Loyalty to him. He is de facto king right now in America. And that's not even exaggerating. So there you are. So the neo-cameralist, the state is a business which owns a country. A state should be managed like any other large business by a CEO. The resulting government corporation is regulated not via the voice of its citizenry, but via the ability to exist as consumers. No voice, no freedom exists. That is Curtis Yarvin speaking the theology of what has occurred in the United States of America. So these are the people. This is the Last Supper. You're sitting looking at it. It's a surveillance-based economic system where the richest person on the planet and all of his buddies have theologically decided you're just a copper-top battery. You don't deserve to vote. And all of your freedoms as U.S. citizens already being undermined. And they're taking over the entire government. So here is Palantir's founder. And the immigration OS has already been used, and they've already gotten permission for Larry Ellison to surveil every single detail about everything you put on social media, including surveil this very broadcast. So I am dead serious that if you see this come down, you know why. Because I said truth to power. And I'll keep doing it to my dying day. And I hope that doesn't come for a very, very long time. So the algorithm is democracy is coping out of frequency feedback mechanisms. So you basically just put you in a world where social media tells you everything. Fox News gives you instruction manual, and the theology is to just believe everything they say. And that the truth doesn't exist, except what we tell you it is. So the parabiosis, this is a quest for divinity. Thiel is the standard bearer of parabiosis, investing in anti-aging to solve the problem of death. So guess what? He could be a king and an overlord forever. This is a dark version of it, but let me tell you, this is the truth. Wake up. Wake up. This is not even a joke. So here's now you'll notice this is Pete Hegseth and OpenAI's founder or CEO. And this is the whole thing in black and white. So I asked this for being a black and white truth documentary set in the 1960s style. Now, the other ones you might have seen that Peter Thiel doesn't look like Peter Thiel. And these you're going to see each one of these, which I'm going to be putting as a PowerPoint deck available for download for you all, has all the information. So at the bottom it says, military AI will not be woke. Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary, New York Times reported. The bottom line here, Alex Karp, we want to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world. And when it's necessary, scare our enemies and on occasion kill them. Alex Karp, CEO of Palantir, along with Peter Thiel. And here you go. The rise of the West was not made possible by the superiority of its ideas, but by its superiority in applying organized violence. Alex Karp, quoting Samuel P. Huntington. Look that up. And then you've got Peter Thiel. I no longer believe that freedom and democracy are compatible. He said that over and over again. He thinks we're at a point where we're not advancing, so he has to take control so that the apes can be told what to do. Then you've got Larry Ellison. Citizens will be on their very best behavior because we will constantly be recording and reporting everything that's going on. If you thought China was bad, I was in China. It wasn't that bad. They don't have enough bandwidth to keep control. Guess what AI gives them? All the bandwidth. What did they get? What did the President of the United States give to Oracle? All the bandwidth, and they've got all the infrastructure. When the power went out to Claude, guess what happened? The Oracle machines that were put in Saudi Arabia, where all of our inference machines are being housed right now, with a sweetheart deal that gave Donald Trump a brand new plane, right, as a gift, supposedly. That's the same place that, guess what? Claude's Anthropic went down while everything else was running on the planet. Is that coincidence? Last week. Check it out. Musk is moving rapidly to take control of the apparatus of U.S. government power for his own power and the broader neo-reactionary agenda. That's a whistleblower from his own department. The Trojan horse, through the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk secured unprecedented access. He set Brandon Bill Big Balls in there, one of his minions, to literally tap into the Treasury Department. They know how much money you made. They know all your taxes, everybody's health data and Social Security. They've got it already. So they've already created the database. I'm sorry, it's over. So when they come to get me, you know who got me. And I'll probably be in Alligator Alley for the next rest of my life. So be it, until we burn the damn thing down and start over again. So here we go. Commander and mandate. Every federal agency is in the immediate cease using Anthropic technology, President Donald Trump, in a tweet, which he also used a tweet to invade Venezuela. He used a tweet to say he's going into Cuba to take it over by force if necessary. He's in a tweet causing World War III to happen, along with Israel. I'm sorry, folks. I cannot abide by that evil man who is a Zionist and is doing the same thing. He's eliminating all Muslims from the planet. I know that there's real problems going on over there, and I'm not a fan of them having weapons of mass destruction. But let me tell you, I don't think those dead bodies that are coming back of 20-year-olds that you've seen the pictures of realized they were even going to do that. And here we did it. And why did he do it? Because he's a pedophile rapist and he broke all 10 commandments. I'm going to say that out loud. So take me in cuffs right out of here for talking about the President of the United States that way. All 7 deadly sins is what he lives by. The 13 positions of propaganda taught by Goebbels to get Hitler into power is exactly his playbook. I have over 18,000 executions of exactly those 13 principles. Tell them over and over again, they'll lie again and again until they believe it. They give up. They can't, right? Democracy tends to fascism. Capitalism, corporate power should become the organizing force in society. Nick Land, the Dark Enlightenment philosopher. Democracy should be replaced with for-profit sovereign corporations led by president, assuming complete monarchical control. That means King Curtis Yarvin, Minicus Moldblood. And the goal isn't human flourishing, it's the realization of the machine's potential. Humanity is merely a bootloader for the digital superintelligence. That's the analysis of the accelerationist doctrine. And then phase 1. We must mark him as the most dangerous Negro of the future in this nation. That's the FBI's director, William Sullivan, in 1963, about Martin Luther King. The government was collecting more data than could analyze in the war on terrorism, and Palantir could help them make sense of it. Peter Thiel in 2016. So he got access to all the CIA. He got access to the attention economy. So he's got Facebook as its front end to suck your brain for everything it knows about you. And let me tell you, if you're on Facebook, if you've been on there long, they know more about you than any other human being on this planet, what you're about to do and what you're thinking right now. This is 1984 thought control. Welcome to Big Brother. So this is triangulated control, a logarithmic, not electoral, analysis of the presidential AI task force. Mission link, simulation surveillance, fall of the wall. The standoff with Anthropic proved that when the state demands lethal AI capabilities, contractual safety restrictions and corporate ethics are simply overridden. So if the sovereign buys software, if the new oligarchy is the U.S. government has effectively outsourced its cognitive enforcement capabilities to a small, unelected cabinet of techno-billionaires, following an ideological victory, the Dark Enlightenment is no longer a fringe blog theory. It is the operational reality of the Pentagon, ICE, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The illusion of choice, with OpenAI capitulating and DOGE accessing federal backdoors, the infrastructure for a permanent, unbreakable techno-feudalism state is active. The legacy of the Anthropic dispute was not a contract negotiation. It was the final failed resistance against the complete weaponization of artificial intelligence against the public in the United States of America. I'm just going to let you sit that for a minute. I'm going to let you look at that for just a minute. And you see why I have this hat on right now. And why I'm as passionate as I have been all of my life. Because as a journalist who's been in search of truth all of my life, what it means to be a human, what I can add value to the rest of the world, this is the Antichrist. It must be put down by any means necessary. That's it. I can't imagine that the world I was born to, which gave opportunities to see the entire planet, to scuba dive with whale sharks and watch a scientist check how many babies are in the belly, who has scuba dived over 3,500 times to find the answers to questions about dolphins and can we speak to them, is talking to you right now, is a man who felt that his government has violated every promise they ever made to we the people. January 6th should have been the end of it. The pedophile things and the rape charges, the 47 charges in federal court that are against our president should have made him unelectable. Not to mention, it probably would have happened with somebody else there. Maybe it would have been J.D. Vance. They've all been in it from the beginning. This is not a joke. This is an existential crisis of humanity, period, end story. With, guess what? You're either the machine of loving grace or you're Dracula and you're about to be sucked dry, as you already have been. And if you weren't aware of every single detail of what I just said, consider yourself enlightened. So I want to make this as a time where I burn the torch bright. It's time to put this government down and rise from its ashes back to what it's supposed to be. It was kind of an amazing thing, the American story. We left kings because we couldn't abide. In fact, we were inspired by Voltaire, who culturally is referenced in Spider-Man. Voltaire said, when faced in France with the "let them eat cake" comment, you may have remembered that one, said of great power, with great power comes responsibility. Did you think the cake-eating king cared about you? About your medical condition? About the number one cause of debt in the United States of America is healthcare? That I almost died twice because of the negligence of the system? That even though I'm wealthy and have all the possibilities, that Social Security is being stripped away from us right now? That a balanced budget is nowhere near happening? That we have to invade other countries because we're in the last throes of 250 years? Go back and check this. 47 empires have existed on Earth. Roman Empire, British Empire. 250 years. 10 generations. Guess what our birthday is this year? July 4th is 250 years. I'm telling you, if this man doesn't end, if we don't end, let me do it this way. If we, the people of the United States of America, do not take back our country, and you can use that Second Amendment the way it was intended as a militia against those kings that tried to take power from we the people. This is civil war, and it's already been happening. You just didn't know it because you're self-domesticated and you allowed it to happen. But now that you know, you can't unforget. I don't care how old I am, but I will take up means of destruction for the evil empire and the Antichrist that this man is on our planet and all of his followers and all the dark enlightenment, because I will have a renaissance before I die, or my stars will be shining so bright as I announce to you to join the cause of all good people who have namaste in their heart. Every one of you has God and enlightenment, and you were made of stardust. And if you don't want to go back in the earth, just of stardust and never have lit a fire, I'm Prometheus, baby. I lit the fire, carry the torch with me. If you're not gonna, get out of my way. That's what a dangerous one is. And I'll ask you to do this one thing. Whenever you meet someone like me, who is angry enough to do anything you can, the resistance starts now. And here's how you identify other resistance members. Good trouble. Your answer? Necessary trouble. My answer? Strawberry fields forever. So I want the sweet taste of a strawberry. Strawberry Fields Forever, John Lennon song. Imagine a World is my favorite song of all time. It speaks to who I am. And I'm not the only one, as John said. Imagine a world where there is no religion, no want or no need, that we live in harmony and peace, reborn as a renaissance of responsibility, thinking about 7 generations, what our earth will look like, what our children's grandkids will inherit. Our job is to plant the seed, spread the love, be a better version of ourselves every day, show up for those people intimate with us and the whole world. Show up for them. Take the torch and pass it forward. Take your light inside yourself and burn it up in people beside you as they advance. Always be additive value to every post that you ever make. Wake up in the morning in Facebook that's trying to take your agency and said, I'm going to post a piece of great music. Repost tomorrow, Imagine by John Lennon. I'll take it as a sign that the fire is burning in all of you too. And you're not the only one. You're not the only one. And all it takes is for good people to get up and do the right thing, be born of responsibility. I thank you all with love in my heart for every human being on this planet. And to all those close to me, I'm sorry, I had to do this, but I had to do this because we cannot let this stand.
Back next week. Namaste.
Love you, everyone. Namaste.